But how much it carries over in this day and age, I can't really tell you because it's changed a lot.
How much did the influence there, I mean, as far as like the man zone concept and melding those, come from that, idea that some of the run and shoot does with, a lot of the option routes and things that they...
Well, that really didn't come from just the run and shoot. That's something that, when I went to the NFL, there's basically three ways that you can play. You can play man-to-man, you can play zone, or you can play sort of pattern match, and all of them have strengths and weaknesses, and so we try to implement a little bit of each of those things in what we do right now. Sometimes you're successful and sometimes, not so much. So sometimes if you got the right thing called in the right situation, it's very helpful. I think how you sort of disguise those things probably helps as much as anything.
Coach, it's a big arms race, especially with teams trying to keep up with Alabama's a great football program. Doesn't that put a lot of pressure on the other schools trying to keep up, a lot of pressure on football to win?
Well, I can't speak for other programs. We want to create a standard at Alabama in terms of how we do things, but I think not just in terms of how we play on the field, but how we create value for our players in terms of helping them be successful in the future as people, career development off the field by graduating from school, which we've done a pretty good job of, career development, football development. I think, being successful is really the same formula, whether it's as a football player or being an executive at Apple. So we try to teach our players that, and hopefully some of the experiences that they sort of have competitively as football players can carry over and help them be more successful in life. So there's a bigger standard than just what happens on the football field in terms of what we try to accomplish with our players. And but I really can't speak for the other programs. I know, since we started the playoff type system, whether it was 2 teams, 4 teams, it became everybody's goal to try to get into playoffs and minimize the importance of bowl games and some other things. But so there's some good and bad and all that. But it's certainly been a wonderful experience and great opportunity for our team and our players to have these opportunities to be in the playoffs.
Nick, you said go ahead.
You've talked about this team's ability to focus and then going in and out. What are the things you see during the week that tell you and give you a measure of how well they're focused?
Well, it's something that you're always trying to get players to focus so they can pay attention to detail, play with discipline. And I think those things are very, very important, especially when you play against really good opponents, because when you play against good opponents, you can get exposed if you don't do things fundamentally correctly, which takes a certain amount of focus and attention to detail to be able to do that, whether it's taking the proper steps to block somebody, whether it's taking the proper steps to play the right technique in coverage, play your gap up front on defense. I don't think any position is immune from, that. And then you have the whole collection of, okay, we have 11 guys out there, whether it's on offense, defense, or special teams, and everybody has an assignment and a job to do, which takes a bit of communication and teamwork and togetherness, which takes a lot of focus and attention to detail as well. So I think it's a critical factor. I think it's more difficult sometimes when you have a lot of distractions that can take you away from your focus. So I think it's really important for players to be able to stay focused on thinking about what do we have to do to win? What do we have to do to win? But focus on what's in front of them, one play at a time, in the game, rather than looking at the scoreboard and letting that affect how you perform, how you play, how you focus. And I think last week's game was a great example of, for the first 20 minutes of the game, we were very focused, we executed well, we played well, and then the rest of the game we didn't have the same focus, attention to detail, more penalties, more undisciplined type play that actually helped the other team. And I think players need to learn from all those experiences and do it better the next time. But when it comes to practice, we're always trying to get that in practice, because I think the way you practice develops the kind of habits that you go play with in a game. But I also think that's very challenging for players to maintain this, and for college players, 15 games in a season is challenging as well.
Coach, you told us in Destin that with some of these transfer rules that were on the table then, it could lead to free agency in college football. Has it played out like you thought it would this year? And what do you see moving forward now with the NCAA portal and some of the new rules we're seeing?
Well, I'm really not certain, and I can't really speak about this year, because I think those things are sort of in the future, for this year, as to what happens with, players, whether they decide to go out early for the draft, or whether they think that they would enhance their career by, going someplace else, whether it's a graduate transfer or whatever it might be. But I don't have a lot of evidence right now based on we're still playing, we're still focusing on this season, haven't even paid a lot of attention to what's happening, other places, to be honest. So I don't really feel like I can answer that effectively.
There are these instructional videos that you've done through the years, like when your time in Michigan State at coaching clinics and such, that are on YouTube and social media. Are you happy with the idea of sharing, your knowledge of, pass coverage schemes, whatever your expertise, and how do you balance that with trying to protect your institutional knowledge that you've developed and keeping it from, other teams?
Well, I'm one of those guys that's likes secrets. I don't like for people to know what we do, how we do it, what the best way to improve it. But I think it's more and more difficult because of social media to not have some of that stuff get out there in terms of what you do, how you do it. Does it make it more difficult to sort of control internally what you're doing, how you're doing it, when it becomes public knowledge and information, because it's out there on social media. It's the way of the world right now, so you do the best you can to control it, but I don't really ever get upset about it if we can't control it.
Do you feel like you have kind of a necessity almost to share some of your knowledge, though, also in the sense to kind of grow the game from your perspective?
Well, I think we try to do that internally with the people in our organization.
In any profession, I hope.
Okay.
We just want to ask you about facing Clemson again. For you, it's time number 2, but as far as the schools are concerned, 4 straight years, does it ever feel old?
This is my first time getting the opportunity to play them, so not really. We know that they have a good front seven. They have a pretty good secondary as well. We're looking forward to the challenges.
What is it about these two programs that kind of set them apart from the rest of the college?
I'm not too sure what they do, on their side. But whatever they're doing, they're very successful with it. And I think they've done a tremendous job, within the past couple seasons, continuing that success. But I'd say for us, it's what we do off season, with what no one sees.
What's the similarities would you say you had
Now than you were maybe how much healthier now than you were going
Well, I can only say that we're continuing to get better with it. I don't think it's my ankle anymore. It's just I guess trying to maintain the feeling of it feeling good, especially going into this game. Just one more, so after that, then I can rest. however long I want.
What similarities would you say you and Trevor had playing the quarterback position that you've noticed from
I haven't really watched any of their games. I got the opportunity to see him at the Elite 11 when he was competing with my brother. I think he has tremendous arm talent. And I think he's done a tremendous job as well, with the success that he's had. And as a true freshman, bringing his team to the national championship, that's not easy. So I think he's done a tremendous job with that.
To 400 family members, is that pretty accurate? Or?
Oh, you can't ask me. I don't even know if that's true or not. I don't know who said that or where that source came from. There's a lot of family members, that we have in California, but 400, I don't know how you can get that many tickets.
How excited are you just to have as many family members as you're going to? Like you said, you have family in California. It's a pretty quick flight as opposed to maybe Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it's fun. It's awesome to have great moral support, especially from family members. Makes it feel like I'm playing at home again, back in Hawaii. It'll be like a little family reunion after the game for sure. But just them being there, it means a lot.
Tua, what has Mike Locksley meant to you this year, and what has he done for you?
Yeah. I think Coach Locksley, to me, he's like the coolest person. He's not too much of a coach. He's not too much of a dad. He's like us. Like he's like a teenager, I guess. He's like a teen, and he knows how to interact with us. He knows how to get us doing what we need to do. He knows how to talk to us. He knows how to motivate us. And I'd say what he's meant to me is, that's like I wouldn't say a dad, but that's like a big brother to me. Like, I don't know. Coach Locksley is just someone who, as far as coaching wise, I've never had someone like it before. And I think a lot of the other guys can attest to that as well, with our receiving core and our entire offense as well.
You guys have all learned how tough it is and important it is to have a backup quarterback come in. Can you just talk about what it's like coming in a game at this level as a backup quarterback?
Say what? Sorry.
Coming into a game at this level. Coming into a game this level as a backup quarterback. How difficult is that?
I think being here has helped me and also maybe played a part of me.
I think you always got to go into a game with the mindset that, when it's my opportunity, I got to be prepared. So for me, for Jalen, Jalen has, a good amount of experience. So I wouldn't say Jalen's a backup, he could be starting on any other team in my opinion. And I think he's handled everything pretty professional, if you ask me, and that's the best way I can answer it.
I'm not even talking about Jalen specific. I'm just talking about a backup quarterback. No matter who you are, Chase Bryce, whoever it might be, having to get thrown into this game. What's that like?
Well, you just got to be prepared whenever your number is called, and you gotta be ready to help your team become successful if it's on.
Luckily for us, last 4 or 5 days of our season, we faced defense similar to this. Had opportunities to get better.
Know what it's like, the emotions you feel as a young player being thrown out into this huge level. What types of feelings you get? Describe these emotions.
Yeah, well, for me last year, I was more so anxious. I was just waiting to get in. I was just eager to get in. And I was waiting to make use of my opportunity. When I had my opportunity, I tried to make use of it. And I think we did last year. But it was more so. Just wanting to get in. There was no nerves. I wouldn't say I was scared to go in, nervous. It was just more so.
That's huge for us, to have the ability to have your backup quarterback.
Well, he's a starter, so I was a backup last year. I wouldn't know what to tell him. I think whatever he's been doing, he should stick to it. He's done a tremendous job helping his team become successful and get to this point. So whatever he's been doing, I think he should stick to it.
457 members come in. Can you name all of them? Can I get a ticket? Shout out to Lefties out here, man. You're doing it big, man.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
How has your life changed in the last year?
How has it changed?
Well, I haven't. The time change that don't here either.
I'd say after the national championship, just everything changed. Just the way people look at you, the way people treat you. Family members. Everyone wants to be your cousin too now. And
my time and energy into.
I mean, just social media, everything else just changes. Your life is under a microscope now, and anything you say or you do, it's under a microscope.
What would you say Nick Saban has helped you with your
I'd say decision making, and aside from decision making, understanding blitz packages. How to pick up the blitz, what to pick up the blitz. And I think that's a testament not only to what Coach Saban's helped us with, but also Coach Damien. I think he's done a tremendous job within our quarterback room, and we're all just a testament to what they've been teaching us.
How much better?
And he'll respond to those challenges.
Did you expect him to have the type of year he's having, though, once you made that move? Or did you expect him to maybe have a few more struggles, I guess?
Yeah, I think because of the way he prepares and practices, that was our expectation of him. And, he took that and ran with it, and I think some other guys, whether generally from our team or within the position, from preseason, getting other attention, that's who Q is, and anything you put in front of him, he's going to attack it at full speed.
When you have somebody who's as disruptive as him, what does that do just in terms of your ability to be versatile defensively when you've got somebody who can win those one-on-ones?
Well, fortunately, Alabama, we're blessed with the fact that if any offense wants to target one individual or take somebody out, then that's going to open the doors for somebody else. Whether that's somebody right next to him, whether that's somebody coming off the edge, whether that's somebody coming from the secondary. So, we want to force you to have one-on-ones. We want to put everybody across the board where they have to account, whether it's the pre-snap look we give you or it's the personnel.
In terms of his last maybe 5 games, LSU on, just is there any sort of comparison in your career, the way somebody's just sort of dominated that one position?
Yeah, it's you usually get to that when you get postseason and you actually watch the self-scout. Yeah. So I can recall with Daron Payne, right after this game's done, we'll go into that mode and start, looking at all the things we could have done better and could have improved on. And, that stood out with Daron Payne, for example, of how disruptive he actually is. When you actually see the film and the self-scout, right now, we put a game to sleep and then we go into preparation for the next opponent. So you don't really get that luxury of focusing in. But I would say both with Daron as well as John Allen, from a production standpoint, Q is right up there with those guys as far as, how disruptive he's been for opposing offenses.
With Clemson, I know people want to try to make it into a rivalry because you've played them 4 straight years. It doesn't seem as much of a rivalry to me. I don't know how you view it. Just, the 2 teams that we all kind of expect to be here at the end are. How do you view sort of where you guys are with relation to each other?
Well, it's a great program. I don't know much about Clemson. Don't really focus on the past or talk about the future. It's all about, living in this moment right now, attacking today's practice and preparation. And that's, really for you guys to kind of create rivalries or whatever you want to do with it. For us, this is an opponent, and we're going to do everything we can to prepare and get our young men in the right position to go attack this game the right way.
Will not be matched from anybody's side.
So you guys, not just you, but all you guys, you talk about the 4- and 5-star guys. How do you stay engaged when you're not playing and you're waiting to play? Like year after year, how do you stay engaged and you're ready?
We get chippy. We get out there because you got so much adrenaline inside you to play somebody else that you really you really bump heads with your opposite opponent. Like, we bump heads a lot at practice just because it's so competitive. Like, it's so competitive. Like, I want to beat you and you want to beat me. But we can't play a game against nobody else. So, like, we treat every practice like a game. Like, I know preparing for Oklahoma, there was a lot of hitting, a lot of banging. And we just we started turning to real full out games.
So you guys aren't thumping, then you're getting.
No, we were getting after it for real, for sure. We get after it every day, like it's a real game.
So when in your freshman sophomore season, were you standing on the sideline thinking, I can do that? If I'm in there, I can do that.
No, my freshman, I know my sophomore season I did think about, but my freshman season. I thought, man, it's a whole, in practice, I thought, bro, it's a whole new ball game. Like these guys really going at it like they don't know each other at all. Like that, but that's just like every freshman see that when they come to Alabama, they're like, man, like.
What's that like, that initial, you walk in and you see 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. What's that like?
It was crazy. I was a 3-star. So the one to go see, like, man, like this, such and such from ESPN Top 300 or this, you know what I'm saying? Like when I forgot, I seen both. Like, man, that both Scarborough, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, man, so, but
is it intimidating?
It's intimidating when you first get here as a freshman. You like, oh, that's Corey Williams, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, earlier, like, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like, man, that's such like Tua Tagovailoa, like, you know what I'm saying?
You know, Pat Surtain's walking in this. He says, "There's Williams."
Yeah, that's one of the moments right there. So, but like, or you got Pat Surtain walk up and be like, "Man, that's Jerry Judy," like, right? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Or they're hearing Rhodes, and I gotta check him, like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
So that helps you elevate.
Oh yeah, that definitely helps you elevate in your game. Cause when I first got here, I had to go against Cam Robinson and like all those freaks on front, so that made me even better. So
grown men.
Oh yeah.
What's the best offensive line y'all will face this year?
I would think it was Georgia. I'd say Georgia. Like, you can ask Raekwon Davis, Isaiah Budd, who they think, but my personal opinion was Georgia. But they came out, they were very physical. They were very tight up front. They came out with a game plan. They executed the game plan well. It was Isaiah Budd like that. Isaiah.
How do you think Clemson's prepares?
I feel like those guys are very good. I feel like they can do it all. The thing that I feel like set Clemson offensive line up, set them different from everybody else is the things they can do. Like, they can run the ball, they can get nasty when they want to, they can set the pass block up when they want to, they can pass off the games when they want to. The different things they can do in the pass rush and run block that make them dangerous in front.
I looked at it as, I try to take the positives out of everything. I was like, well, at least I get a break, you know what I'm saying? And then knowing how I had to attack rehab and everything like that, it's just built on how this season, it's just built on me coming into the season and made me more confident.
Right.
What's goody, baby?
Good.
Yo, we gotta talk. I'm here with overtime, and we seen the run go viral. Did you check on him at all? You didn't check. You didn't make sure he was straight, because I mean, you did some serious damage. It was crazy. I had to admire that. Former player and everything too. So crazy season. 14-0. You going for 15-0. There's nothing but smiles. Have you seen Nick Saban smile at all? Can you give us an impression of his laugh? Or
I haven't really seen him smile. He's mostly serious, but I mean, he makes a lot of jokes. So
yeah, you got one for us?
I mean, I don't know if it's camera appropriate. You feel me?
That's good. Yeah. Okay. Now another thing. So it's my birthday and everything. So it's my first day here, and it's my birthday. Yeah. Can you sing me a happy birthday? Can you go dance with it?
Man, I don't know about that, but look, happy birthday though. You feel me?
Hey, I like that. Hey, this great, baby. That was my number 2. And he repping the strong, man. National championship. I like that. Hey, another thing. We got these. Yeah. It's called Dizzy Goggles. So when you hit Buddy like that, yeah, that's what he was looking like. Yeah, try those on for us, see what you think. Let me see. Yeah. They don't play me good. Yeah, so when you hit Buddy like that, that's the type of blows you would deliver. Yeah, you can't even walk. Yeah.
No doubt.
It is
hard though.
For real.
Be hard.
Appreciate you. It's the
Yeah.
concussion dog.
Yeah, I see.
Hey,
Appreciate you,
Josh,
man.
No problem.
I was wondering, man, can you talk about the progression of your play over this season and how you've improved week by week now headed into the national title game?
I've had a good last five to 6 games, a little stretch. I mean, I'm not doing anything differently. I'm doing everything how I've been doing it since the beginning of the season. I'm just happen to be making the best out of my opportunities right now.
It's really good to see you in the mix because last year after the injuries and stuff, I mean, it seems like you're full blown. I mean, does it feel good just to, after those injuries you dealt with last year, to just really show people what you're made of this year?
Honestly, most people didn't know about injuries throughout the whole year last year. It just happened how it happened. To be in the mix, I really don't care. I'm not big on accolades or attention or anything like that. So just being able to help my team and play how I know I could play, and it's all just happened to play out for itself.
Thanks for this year and really kind of, what's that mean for you as a coach to see him have success?
I'm so proud of him. To have the year that he's had, we knew he had special talents, and the one thing, the injuries have kind of always hampered him a little bit, hamstrings and stuff, but he's had a great year and been able to stay healthy.
Y'all signed one of the top running backs in Trey Sanders. What's the future of the running back room look like with Damien?
You're at Alabama. There's always going to be good running backs, and so we'll keep that thing going.
Joe, what kind of accomplishment is it for you guys as a staff and Nick to lose 6 coaches, 16 players to the NFL? Even that kind of pales in comparison to what you guys have done in previous years to get back here.
Well, yeah, the one thing I think when you start to look back at coach over this period of time, I was at Miami when it started to fall, and I think one of the things that happened to us at Miami was we weren't able to replace kids that left early to the draft with the same type of kids. And I think one of the things that we for sure weren't able to do is you lose the older leadership. Coach does a great job of being such a great leader, and maybe that overrides everything, and he's able to affect kids and have the leadership that we have. But then you throw into that the coaches that he loses every year. And I mean, even like for me, I was here for 4, I left for 2, and now I'm back. Right. It just keeps going and it keeps winning, and Coach he's the one thing that's been constant, consistent.
Is that one of the biggest things, the analyst things, guys who've developed and gone on, like Locks or Lane or Sarkisian, that hasn't happened anywhere else?
Yeah, and that's just kind of developed here, I guess, the analyst thing in the last 5 years. Yeah. But it's been great for our profession, and I think it's great at the end of the day for our kids because they're surrounded by better people, and kids nowadays need more people around them just to kind of keep them going. And I think Coach by far does the best job of anybody in the country, not only making them better players, everybody sees that, but he makes them better people and better students. He graduates the amount of people, and you guys never write about that because that's not sexy or you talk about it, but the amount of people kids that he's graduated here is unbelievable. And the ones he hasn't graduated are playing in the NFL and come back and graduate. So that's a credit to him. You don't care about him just as pieces of meat or football players. He cares about them as people, and that's probably where the whole thing begins.
I haven't heard anybody, either here or outside of here, talk about 7 national championships. That record, if you guys win, surpasses Bear. It may never be broken.
We're only worried about 1 national championship.
I know.
Monday night. And I'm brainwashed now because that's all it is. I mean, that's where you live. You live it now. And we're going to have our hands full. I mean, it'll take everything we have Monday night. There is probably as complete a team as we've played in the last 2 years. A lot of times you could get a team that is their line's good, but their secondary's not good, or these guys are kind of built like we are too. And they got some Alabama flavor too, right?
Yeah. Coach, just wanted to get your thoughts on Brian Robinson. I mean,
man.
Can you just talk about?
Yeah, Brian's a big guy. There's no he could be. All those kids in that room, they're all going to play long past their collegiate career, and he's just another kid that he's going to be a really, really, really good. He is a good player, but I'm proud of him.
But I don't know if that was a couple minutes
ago.
Can you talk about just what he has from a physical standpoint? He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. He's got vision. He can run. He can block. I mean, we're just like blessed to have him, and he's a dynamic player and a really, really good kid.
Joe,
No, just because of the recruiting process now. You know, I mean, he had a lot of good opportunities at mid-majors and things like that are good football programs. But at this level, I think the recruiting process starts so much earlier. And now with the early signing period, so many people get full in December where there's just not a lot of options late.
What's the future look like for Jalen in your minds about the possibility of him one day maybe being started here at Alabama?
No, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, I think athletically, what we just talked about, he's got everything that you want. You know, so the big thing in this defense to be the signal caller at the Mike position is understanding the entire defense. You know, and Jalen's getting comfortable right now with what Jalen's doing, and now this spring will be big for Jalen to get comfortable with all 11 people are doing. You know, so we can communicate and get everybody on the same page. He's going to have some young guys around him when he's in and be able to tell those guys what to do. So he's going to have a great opportunity in the spring to come in and compete for the job. Because bottom line, athletically, he can do it. He loves football. He's smart. He comes in for extra film. So I'll be very surprised if he doesn't have a significant role.
Thanks, Coach.
Another young guy, Ali Cajo. What have you seen from him, especially as a guy that started late, came to the team late in camp?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the biggest difference between him and Moody was the summer. You know, so how now getting the 2 hours a week with him during the summer now, you can come back and it ain't too big to miss spring ball because you install in June, you install in July. Well, Cajo missed all that. You know, so he got here right in the middle of camp and we got thrown right in. You know, so how you install in camp is completely different than how you install in the fall where you're game planning for somebody. So I felt like with him, as soon as he got, you know, comfortable with our base install, it's like, all right, well, forget all that. Here, this is what we're doing. And it's like, shit, I got to start this all over again. You know, so I mean, I think athletically, super gifted, explosive. He's going to be a really good player. I think the spring is going to be huge from him from a mental standpoint to feel good about what he's doing. He plays a different position to where it's not the mic, to where he doesn't have to be the signal caller. So a lot of it is going to be getting Moody and all those other guys around him to help him because athletically he's one of the best we got.
With the depth at mid linebacker to begin the season, how much of a bonus was it to get him so late? What was that had to be a surprise? I mean,
I think the biggest thing is from an insurance standpoint. You know, I mean, fortunate to this point, you know, Mac and Dylan have stayed healthy this season, which wasn't the case last year. You know, so that was something that we were looking at going into the summer. Like, hey, if something that happens to one of these guys, the next guy's going to step up. Do we have the next guy right now? You know, so I mean, I think that was the biggest thing. Both Cajo and Moody added to some depth here, but more of an insurance standpoint right now because we threw him in late. Where if something did happen, athletically, could you put a kid in there that could play in this conference? You know, and I think both of them can.
Unlike Moody,
relationship with Michael Oxley, and how has that developed?
I think we both came in at the same time, and I think we've definitely created a bond. And he's a great man and a great figure for me. So look up to him.
When there's a chance you could play or in that SEC championship game, I was told he was asking you what plays you were comfortable with instead of him telling you. Is that accurate?
Sorry, what was that? What did you say?
He was asking you what plays you were comfortable running instead of the other way around. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So after the first touchdown, I think I went to call him on the phone. He asked me, he said, "Are you good? You know, what are you? You know, what plays do you like?" And I said, "You can call whatever. You know, I got to go execute it. You know." So.
All right, Jalen.
What's
Turn a little bit. What's up?
How you
We
doing?
finally get a chance.
Yeah,
Okay, you're at your third straight national championship. At some point, you guys always run into Clemson, and you're playing a different role. So mentally, how do you attack coming into this game?
I prepare the same every time. You know, being ready when my number's called, but you know, I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be here with this team. So we just have to, you know, like old man Nick says, take the bull by the horn and handle business.
What do you remember about the last meeting of the national championship against Clemson? What stands out in your mind?
You know, I always say you remember the losses, not the wins. And being a freshman at that point in time, you know, I feel like there are definitely things that I could have done better. But you know, I ran the touchdown in knowing that the game wasn't over, and it wasn't. You know, Deshaun Watson's a great player, and he's balling right now at this level. But hopefully that doesn't happen again in the other bay. You know?
If your number is called in this national championship game, what are you prepared to go in the game and do?
Hopefully, you know, do what I need to do to uplift the team and ultimately win.
And when you look at the game film of Clemson right now, what's changed about the defense?
They were loaded my freshman year. They were loaded last year, and they're loaded again. So it'll be a great challenge for us. But we got to execute. We got to do our job.
Thanks for your time, Jalen.
Thank you.
Jalen, what's your future with this program? Have you thought much about it?
No.
right, Isaiah. Who do you think so far? We were talking with Quentin. He said that Georgia's offensive line has probably been the toughest up to this point. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Georgia's most definitely as the best O-line we faced all year.
What have you seen on tape from Clemson so far?
They had a nice run game, pass game. All that is pretty good. We respect them.
This year, how much have you improved as a player, and how has Coach Cool helped you improve your game?
We've improved as a player. You know, we have all the great coaches, you know, that's on their staff that help each player, you know, improve each and every day. It's just all about practicing and doing what we're supposed to do.
As we look at the younger guys, Christian Barmore, Stephon Wynn, Fidarius, can you talk about some of those guys and what you've seen from them so far?
Those guys coming along, you know, each and every day they're getting better and they're practicing better, you know, getting better as a unit, and they're going to be great players.
Thank you, Isaiah. I was curious, your relationship with Josh Gaddis and how he's helped you this year.
Coach Gaddis, he helped me a lot. You know, he really like a detail person, which I needed a little help on coming into it. So he really helped on my detail, my fundamentals.
What is it like every day competing with guys like Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs? I mean, how much of those guys also helped you improve your game?
It's real good, you know, competing with them every day. They really make you bring out the best every day, every single day. They help me, like, when I don't really know something and I have like a typical freshman experience, like, I don't know what I always ask them a question like, what would they do? So they really help me in that regard.
Was it intimidating for you at all coming into Alabama?
I wouldn't say intimidating, but I just know it was challenging. You know, it was going to be different.
And last question, Coach Saban, I mean, how is he with the true freshmen? I mean, does he treat you any different? Does everybody just get the same treatment? Does he help you acclimate a little bit better just your first year there?
I mean, he treats everybody the same, you know. You typical Coach Saban, you know, if you mess up, he's gonna really get on you. So everything the same.
Last thing, you playing in your first national title game. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's great. It's a wonderful experience just knowing that you're playing in the last game, and not every freshman get to experience this. So
I appreciate it.
No problem.